Hello, everybody, and welcome to Theology 101. We are going through Jesus' 7 signs, and last time we learned about Jesus' 5th sign. In case you missed it, I'll leave a link for you to watch. Today we're going to go over Jesus' 6th sign, where he heals a blind man. Now, the Apostle John is going to spend a whole chapter, 41 verses, on this single miracle. Why does he spend so much time talking about this miracle? It's because this miracle speaks to the topic of suffering. By healing this blind man, Jesus is going to use him as a living illustration of what he does for every believer who suffers. And so let's jump into the scene. Jesus is walking around Jerusalem because this healing takes place at the Pool of Siloam, which was not very far from the temple. As Jesus is walking, he notices a man who was born blind. While Jesus sees a man that he will use to display God's glory, his disciples see a man who they believe deserved to be blind. In fact, look at what the disciples say. Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? This question actually reflects the thinking of this time. The disciples assumed, like most Jews during that time, that sin and suffering were connected. And in one sense, they are correct. On a cosmic level, sin is connected to suffering. Genesis 3 tells us that suffering came into our world because Adam and Eve sinned. After the fall, death came into our world, sickness came into our world, tsunamis came into our world, and blindness came into our world. And the Jews are also correct on a general level that sin can lead to suffering. If a person is addicted to drugs, well, the consequences of that sin is that they might have a lot of diseases or even die. But here's the reason why Jesus is going to correct his disciples' thinking. It is because sin is not the cause for all suffering. You see, people didn't have compassion on the marginalized because they believed that God was punishing them for some sin. And so nobody will hire a blind person to give him money. And so blind people had to resort to begging. In fact, blind people were ostracized. They weren't allowed to go to the temple to worship. Typically, their parents would disown them. And we see for this blind man, his parents probably disowned them because later on, they would throw him under the bus when talking to the Jewish leaders. Some rabbis actually taught that a person can sin in the womb called prenatal sin. So people used to think that if a person was blind, either his parents sinned, or maybe even he sinned in the womb. Either way, they believed this person deserved to be blind and God was punishing them. Jesus is going to correct this wrong thinking. He says to his disciples, it is not that this man sinned or his parents, but that the works of God might be displayed in him. Jesus reframes the question. He does not answer what caused this man's blindness, but he says that he will show the purpose for this man's blindness. What is the purpose? That God's works might be displayed through him. When Jesus looks at this blind man, he does not see a man who is being punished for his sin, but he sees a paintbrush that he will use to paint a picture of God's glory. This is why Jesus says this: we must work the works of him who sent me while it is day. Night is coming when no one can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. Before night comes, referring to his death, Jesus says that he must fulfill his mission as the light of the world. And one way he shows that he is the light of the world is by giving sight to the blind. And he does this as a preview of what he does for every believer, which is to give spiritual sight to us when we were spiritually blind. So Jesus now performs his miracle. He spits on the ground and he makes mud and he puts it on the eyes of this blind man. Jesus then tells him to go to the Pool of Siloam and to wash off the mud. Now notice that the Apostle John points out that the Pool of Siloam was called sent. Why does he point this out? Well, we need to know that this pool was created in the Old Testament by King Hezekiah. King Hezekiah made an underground tunnel that connected a nearby spring to this pool so that during times of war and battle, Jerusalem will always have a source of water, because invading armies would typically cut off the water source first to a city before they sacked the city. So this pool came to represent God's provision for life. It was a picture of God's salvation because this water was sent from a spring to the people in order to save them. So it is not an accident that Jesus tells this blind man to go to this pool. This is the same pool of water that was used during a water festival when Jesus says this: if anyone thirsts, let him come to me and drink. It is also not an accident that Jesus says that he must do the works of the one who sent him. Just as this spring sends water to this pool, Jesus is saying the Father has sent him to bring living water to his people. Remember how I mentioned that this miracle has to do with the topic of suffering? Well, this miracle shows us that Jesus becomes the answer to our suffering because he suffered in our place so that we don't have to suffer forever. The ultimate picture of suffering being used for the glory of God is the cross of Christ. Jesus suffered on the cross. It wasn't his fault. He didn't cause that suffering because of some sin. Instead, he suffered on the cross to display the works of God to us. And because of the cross, whoever trusts in Jesus is given new eyes to see him as the light of the world. And although we still suffer now, we know that one day we will never suffer again in Jesus' kingdom because Jesus suffered in our place on the cross. However, the focus of this chapter is not the miracle, because John only spends 2 verses on it. The focus of this chapter is how God will use this blind man after Jesus heals him, which is what we're going to see next time. If you found this video helpful, please like it and share it with a friend. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification so that you'll be notified when the second video of this sign is released next Friday. Until next time, see you.